Coming up on the bench, Syracuse football needed just one more win to earn bowl eligibility. Would they be able to get it done against a ranked Pittsburgh team? Stay tuned to find out.
And there's only one thing better than cheeseburgers in paradise. Well, I guess that could be debatable, but that's basketball in paradise. SU Men's Hoops is down in Paradise Island in the Bahamas for a trio of tilts in the Battle for Atlantis tournament. How the Q's fare? We'll tell you.
Meanwhile, the women's hoops team looked to avenge the men's loss to Colgate from the week prior, but Von Reed's team had been struggling. All that and much more. It's on the bench, and it's coming at you right now. Hey, and welcome into On the Bench. I'm John Dales. He's Calvin Christoforo. And Calvin, I'm going to say it. I don't think it was Dino Babers' plan to head into senior day with two straight blowout losses.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think so. I think he'd rather have all the wins than none of the losses.
I think he certainly would. Well, Syracuse did return to the friendly confines of the Carrier Dome after losses to Louisville and NC State, and it was time to honor some seniors. Among those honored were Josh Black, Kingsley Jonathan, Aaron Service, and Andre Schmidt, just to name a few of them that were honored in their final game inside the Dome.
Well, some of those seniors got some recognition on their way out. In fact, 8 members of the Orange received All-ACC honors. Of course, that group led by Sean Tucker, who was named to the All-ACC first-team offense for his record-breaking season. Cody Roscoe and Michael Jones were also selected to the first team on the defensive side. True freshman Deuce Chestnut grabbed the recognition as a third-team All-Conference member, and Matthew Bergeron, Aaron Service, Josh Black, and Garrett Williams were all named All-Conference honorable mentions.
Well, there was some news with the SU football program right after the finale. Offensive coordinator Sterling Gilbert got fired. He was one of 3 SU assistants to be handed a pink slip after the regular season finale. Well, before that news came out, maybe it might give you a little bit of a hint as to what happened in the game, but Syracuse played Pittsburgh at home, and we'll get right into it. Pittsburgh had already clinched its spot in the ACC title game, but was looking for a 10th victory. Again, Syracuse looking for magic number 6, the 6th win of the season. And early on in this one, Syracuse actually did get started off on the right foot. They moved the ball down the field, and a rocket from Garrett Schrader to Courtney Jackson puts the Cuse up 7-0 early. That's just Jackson's 2nd touchdown of the year. Now that score held until about midway through the second quarter. This time it was a screen pass to Rodney Hammond Jr. that gets Pitt on the board, and Kenny Pickett, Calvin, he would not be done. No,
he's not done, and when he's throwing passes to a guy like his receiver, Jordan Addison, coming up, he's going to get busy.
And he gets helped out here. The cameraman loses control of where the play's going, and Devon Cooper loses control of the football. He coughs it up, and Syracuse turns the ball over. We'll take another look at it here. Cooper gets the catch across the middle and then fumbles, so now Uncle Mo is wearing Panther blue and white. Pittsburgh ends up getting it right before the halftime break into the end zone. That's Pickett again. Good teams capitalized on turnovers, and Jordan Addison with a 25-yard touchdown catch right there. It's 14-7 Panthers at the break. Pickett out of the break, more of the same this time. Right near the end zone, it's Gavin Bartholomew, a 4-yard touchdown pass. Yet again, they work it all the way down. Pickett finds Jordan Addison for his 2nd touchdown of the day. 28-7, he bows to the Carrier Dome crowd, basically saying, all right, say goodbye to your bowl chances. Garrett Schrader haven't given up, though. Pump fake and a wheel route to Courtney Jackson into the end zone. That's 2 touchdowns for him, and he only had 1 the whole rest of the season. So Syracuse, they're not going away. It's a 2-possession game. And then Deuce Chestnut, we heard that he got all ACC honors. He picks off this moon ball out of the hands of Pickett and starts running it back. How about those neon gloves, too?
Chestnut's roasting on an open fire.
Yeah, well, unfortunately for the Orange, they couldn't muster up anything else than that, and a 31-14 final score in the Carrier Dome. Pittsburgh gets their 10th win, and our very own Cameron Ezer has more.
Just 3 weeks ago, Syracuse football exited its bye week sitting pretty at 5-4 with 3 opportunities to pick up just 1 win in order to clinch bowl eligibility for the first time since 2018. But after ensuing losses to Louisville and NC State, Syracuse's bowl chances went from significant to slim, with 1 more chance to pick up that elusive 6th victory here in the Dome. But in the season finale, SU's bowl odds went from slim to non-existent after a 31-14 loss to the 17th-ranked Pitt Panthers. Now, although the Orange season is over, head coach Dino Babers and his players took more of a progressive approach, looking forward to a positive 2022.
When it comes back to the fall, all the work you put in the spring, all this work you put into the winter and the summer, it'll pay off for you. And that's basically what we were talking about. Whatever we did, we need to do more. We didn't do enough. And opportunities will come.
We got guys that can run routes. We got guys I can throw the ball. And we'll just complement our run game. But just consistency is the biggest thing, and make sure that we iron out everything that we need to in the offseason.
With that mentality, it's full steam ahead for Syracuse football into the offseason and then the season that follows in 2022, with plenty of question marks along the way. Job security of Dino Babers, which player will have a breakout season next year, and who will stay and who will go. But for now, reporting one last time from Ernie Davis Legends Field here in 2021, Cameron Uzair, Citrus TV.
Great stuff as always from Cam. And Garrett Schrader says we've got guys that can run routes. Right now they're running straight to the couch to watch bowl season. Little breakdown of the season. We'll break it into thirds for you. Calvin, if you remember, Syracuse started out 3-1 right at the start, and the numbers kind of tell you that, yeah, things were looking okay at the beginning.
Ohio and Albany, though, aren't the toughest of teams to play.
That's certainly a fair point. And then weeks 5 through 8, then 9 through 12, 1-3 and 1-3. When it comes down to it, that's not going to get the job done.
Atlantic Coast Conference, that's what it comes down to. You play some real teams that are going to bowls, not teams up in the fake Athens over in Ohio.
Well, in any case, it ends up in another sub-500 season for SU football.
So it's a disappointing end to the start of the Syracuse football season, but hey, you can't be disappointed in paradise. Syracuse men's hoop was down in the beautiful Bahamas for the Battle for Atlantis tournament. Jealous? Yeah, I am too. I'm stuck here with you guys, but hey, the Orange got a good draw too, lined up with VCU from
the A-10.
The A-10. The Orange are going to beat the Rams, right? They just lost to UT Chattanooga.
Of course.
I like the Mocs more than the next guy, but hey, the Orange ain't an easy one. Well, Jimmy Boeheim thinks so. He scores the first 5 points of these games, and then little bro gets into the act, little pick pot money drop. The Orange are up early, and what got into this guy down low? Jesse Edwards. I remember when I sat next to him in Calculus 2. He wasn't doing that, I'll tell you that much. Syracuse in the lead early. VCU, though, starting to climb back, and Syracuse just really couldn't put the ball in the basket. 24% from the floor in the first half, but hey, they're up by 4 at the break, so things can't be going that bad, right?
Yeah, I mean, 24%, you'd certainly like to shoot better than that, but you're up by 4.
Well, that's good, and then VCU, though, they started scoring. Jaden Nunn, these are both of his 2 3-pointers on the night. The Rams have the lead, and they would never look back. He gets 2 threes. Brown Jones goes to the hoop in the arm, little 3-pointer the old-fashioned way. The Rams running away with it, and they'll just not stop. Little alley-oop. Whoa, where'd you come from? That's my guy Hassan Ward going to the basket. The Orange trying to get back into it. Joe Girard looking for Benny Williams, throws it away. And just a little icing on the cake here coming from Levi Stockton, who throws it down with 2 hands. The exclamation point. VCU wins round 1. Syracuse has to play against Arizona State.
Well, yeah, it was a matchup of journalism schools in the next game. SU taking on ASU. The Sun Devils lost their first contest, sub-500 entering this game. Again, Syracuse should get a win, right, Calvin?
They should.
Well, they start off all right. There's a 3 by Buddy Boeheim, top of the key, tied us up at 7-7. But ASU wasn't going to go away easily. They were going to start out pretty hot on their own. That's a triple to put them up early. But it seems like all of Jimmy Boeheim's scoring is in the first half, more of the same right there.
Yeah, he gets it going early. It might be because he shoots left-handed. I haven't done the math on that, though.
And the 2 teams kept trading leads 6 times, in fact, in the first 10 minutes. It was a real tight game and really kind of a shootout in the early going. There's Joe Girard off the bank and in. I guess the bank was open down in the Bahamas, and then this time, no need for the backboard help. He put SU up by 4. And down inside, now all 5 SU starters on the board, and then Cole Swider stepping into a 3. That's what Syracuse needed from him. An 18-point lead into the halftime break, certainly a good first half.
When Swider makes shots, this team is going to be very tough to beat. It's just he misses a lot of them.
And then Jesse Edwards was a revelation in this contest. He had 21 points. He only missed 2 field goals, 9 of 11 from the floor, and Syracuse started to run away with it. There's a 3 from the quarter that brought ASU back within 10. Luther Muhammad on that one. and the Sun Devils still trying to get a late push. Suddenly down to 10, down to 7, but Syracuse would run out the clock. A 92-84 win that sets them up against Auburn.
Auburn, the Tigers, hey, the Orange can salvage this series down in the Bahamas. Not going to be easy, though, going up against the number 19 team in the land and going up against this guy right here, Jabari Smith. Probably not how he drew that one up, but it'll work. Buddy Boeheim trying to get the Orange back into it early, puts him up. And then my guy, Jesse Edwards, doing more work. What got into this guy?
You must have told him something in that calc class.
Oh, I told him something. I told him to go to the hoop, and that's what he's been doing. But Jabari Smith doesn't need to go to the hoop. He is spring green from the left wing, knocks it down, then helps his teammates out. You talking about the bank being open? I don't know he called bank on that one, but that'll count for the Tigers. And how does KD Johnson throw this one in the basket? What? The spin doctor gets it to go, and the Tigers are up by 10 points going in to the break. Second half, though, more of the same, more of Auburn, and more of guess who? Yeah, you guessed it, Jabari Smith. This guy is going to be a top 5 pick in the NBA next year, throwing it down, back-to-back possessions, back-to-back alley-oops. This game is, quite frankly, over. Your guy Jimmy Boeheim, though, gets it going in the second half, but too little, too late for JB3 and the rest of the offense, because it's the defense. Syracuse gave up 80 points, again, the third time this season in 6 games. That's not going to get it done.
It's unbelievable. You give up a century mark to Colgate, and you think that things are suddenly going to turn around when you play real teams?
Auburn, though, just the dunk party continues for the Tigers. They run away with it. 21-point loss for SU. They dropped to 500 on the season at 3-3. And a big reason why it's been rough for the Orange, because they were at the beach, right, in the Bahamas.
Yep.
But it seemed like they couldn't throw it into the ocean from the sand. A combined 35% from the floor in their 2 losses down there. That's not going to get done against anybody.
And certainly that thing we have highlighted there in the second game, not a lot of bench minutes. When you're losing games early in the season, you want to see at least who can play, right? And if you're not going deep into your bench, suddenly you're hamstringing yourself for later down the line.
The one bright spot, though, was Jesse Edwards. I still don't know what got in to that guy. But we're going to move on. It was a rough stretch so far here on OTB, but we're just getting going. When we come back after a tough trip to the Bahamas themselves, the women's hoop team was back home facing off against in-state rival Colgate. We'll tell you how that one went down and a whole lot more when OTB returns.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
OTN is on all your favorite apps. Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku. Search Orange Television Network or OTN. OTN has its best shows, short films, and CitrusTV on demand. Family and friends can watch OTN too. Watch the live stream of OTN to catch live CitrusTV news, live from Studio B, and mornings on the Hill. On or off campus, watch OTN anywhere.
Welcome back to On the Bench. Alongside Calvin Christoforo, I'm John Dales. Calvin, you mentioned it. A lot of depressing highlights in that first block of the show. Let's turn things around, shall we?
Let's do it. I'm scared to what's come next, though.
All right, no need to be worried. Like I mentioned earlier, Colgate men's hoops, they took down Syracuse in the Dome. The ladies tried to come into the Dome and make it a 2-0 Raider sweep, though. So it was up to Syracuse women's hoops to try and defend the home floor. Both teams were struggling coming into this contest, though. That was the good news for Syracuse. Colgate with just 1 win. And the Raiders would strike first and then strike second. On the fast break, here's Alexa Nassens with a layup to make it 4-0 Raiders. Later on, though, with Colgate on offense, it's a 3, and suddenly Colgate up big, and they would hit 3 consecutive 3-pointers at this point. But now Syracuse tries to turn that defense into offense. There's a pick and a score from Chrislyn Carr. She goes up and scores, and then no need to break the highlight because right off the inbound, there's a steal and a score from Najee Murray. Suddenly it's just a 1-point game.
Sometimes when you steal from the Raiders, good things are going to happen.
Yeah, and Syracuse kept the offense rolling. Suddenly they've got the lead, and now a big second quarter that went 21-7 in favor of the Orange, and Tisha Hyman was a big part of it. A couple of layups for her. And this one with Syracuse on offense, that's Chrislyn Carr stretching the zone. Suddenly it's 43-25, Syracuse on top of Colgate. Remember when the Orange were losing in this contest?
Well, you can drive out to a pretty big lead when you got 2 cars to get behind.
It's worked well for him. And Colgate, who was real hot from the floor in the first half, cools off. Shot under 30% from 3 to finish this one. And then Alasia Styles puts the finishing touches on this ball game. The Orange absolutely run away with it, 79-57. And our very own Steven Sklar has more on the win.
It's been not 1, not 2, but 11 days since Syracuse women's basketball last won a game. They were riding a 3-game losing streak ahead of their matchup versus Colgate, but luckily, so were the Raiders, and something had to give. The Orange walked out of here with a 79-57 win, and acting head coach Von Reed says nothing beats the feeling of getting back in the win column.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good. Obviously, I mean that's why we play the games. We're struggling a little bit there, and the girls are just ready to get back excited to be on the court and be able to play here at the Dome.
SU still managed to get the job done, even without key players like Jayla Thornton, Priscilla Williams, and Ebony Walker.
It's kind of up in the air. We're kind of day to day with that, but we'll see on Wednesday.
Now, without these players, rebounding becomes a challenge for Syracuse, so it'll be hoping to get its front court back before its next game versus Ohio State. That game will take place on the court right behind me Wednesday at 8 p.m. I'm Steven Sklar, CitrusTV Sports.
Steven Sklar, that guy is the man inside the Dome. We're going to switch over to volleyball, though, and after starting the season 11-1, Syracuse came really stumbling towards the end of their season. Losers of 9 of 11, SU closed out the regular year down in Raleigh, taking on NC State. This is a state team that beat the Orange last month 3-1 inside the SU women's building, but the Orange trying to get back in the win column, and they're going to go to their best player this year, Marina Markova, nearly 500 kills on the season. Is that good?
It's pretty good.
The Orange going to win set 1 behind her, not without having to give some effort, though. Back and forth they go, back and forth they go. A big block, though, by SU to win set number 1. They go up 1-0. They're feeling pretty good about themselves. Second set, a little bit not as tight, still tight though, and a Taylor Rowan service error is going to give SU the win in set number 2. So now 2-0, looking for the sweep. Markova can taste it, throws it down again, toe-to-toe though. Allen goes out of play, 22-21, going down to the wire. Now we're in extra time, 28-27, but Melissa Evans says, let's go home. The big block for the Orange pushes them ahead to a 3-0 win down in Raleigh. So the Orange, they've struggled a bit down the stretch, but the win breaks their 3-game losing streak. Marina Markova, a big reason why.
Now, you and I have both said it, I don't know how many times, Calvin, but in order for Syracuse to get a big win like this on the road, Markova, she's got to be Markova.
Markova and Shimanova has been the 1-2 punch for the Orange this year. They close out feeling a little bit better than themselves instead of that 9-11 losing stretch.
They certainly should. It's really hard to turn things around when you get in a slog right like that, but beating a pretty good NC State team should maybe turn things around for them. But anyways, Syracuse women's ice hockey also had a weekend doubleheader Friday and Saturday in the Gutterson Fieldhouse in Burlington, Vermont. Syracuse 5-6-2, UVM 6-6-1 entering this one. And in order to score in hockey, you got to shoot the puck. And Anna Lashizin does that early, but gets blanked by Skidova, the goalie for UVM. But later on, Ariel Desmet does the same. Syracuse and UVM still scoreless. There's a glove save again, and the two goalies just going back and forth, not allowing anything in through the first 2 periods, but finally the Catamounts break through. They take a 1-0 lead in the 3rd period. All right, so game over. Syracuse is going to lose, right?
Yeah.
Hang on, hold the phone here.
Whoa.
Loose puck out in front of the net, turnaround shot, and a score. Primo gets Syracuse tied up 1-1. We're going to overtime in the extra session, 1-on-none with the goalie, and Abby Malotny can't finish it. But luckily for Syracuse, Ariel Desmet does the same. 1-1 the final score. The two teams would play again the next day. And in this game, Syracuse with an early chance again. And yet again, the goalie show is on full display. There's a save for UVM, and UVM trying early. They get on the board early in this one. 1-0, they go up. We're in the second period now, and that Catamount offense just finally woke up, crashing into the goalie. This was Allison Small playing in this game instead of Ariel Desmet. She gives up the goal there. 2-0 UVM, make it 3-0. The Catamounts just ran away with it, Cal.
Well, Dels, I've been in that building, and when the Cats are purring in there, that is a really tough place to grab a win.
And the Orange just couldn't get anything going on the offensive end. Finally, they do break through. That's Rayla Clemens scoring the first goal shorthanded for Syracuse this season, but UVM adding insult to injury, 5-1 the final score. 0-1-1 weekend for Paul Flanagan's bunch. Now, taking a look at how things went down, if anybody knows the secret formula to turn 47 shots into 47 goals, Calvin, they haven't told the Orange.
Yeah, that person also has the Sorcerer's Stone and can turn lead into gold, but the Orange need to find the back of the net, and that's plain and simple.
And Syracuse, they just had troubles all over the place. At the face-off, they just haven't been reliable. Lauren Belafontaine won 23 of the 47 face-offs for the team, though. The one piece of good news, though, is that Syracuse has a pretty reliable option, either Desmet or Small in goal.
It's better to have two good goaltenders than one. I've always said that, too.
I've said that as well, certainly. Well, we're up against another break here on OTB, but don't go anywhere. We've got everyone's favorite, Danny Tao, joining Calvin on the show when we come back, and he's ready to bring the heat. Don't go anywhere. OTB, back after this.
Here we go. We're going to go out there in the rain. We're going to get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh, yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. So wet.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Just when you thought the show couldn't get any better, this handsome devil walks through the door. It's our men's soccer beat reporter, Danny Tao. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
We're here to talk some soccer, and we're here to talk some SU men's soccer. The Orange finished the year 8-8, but just 2-5-1 in the ACC. A team that had the highest of highs, including that upset win against number 6 Clemson, but also struggled at points, and including a one and done in the ACC tournament. So if you had to sum it up, what was this team's demise?
You know, I'd say a big issue for this team was their inconsistency. You know, they were playing the same 3-5-2 formation with a high press every single game. At some point, Ian McIntyre needs to switch that up if this team wants to have any success. The tactics were the same, and they might work against a team like Clemson, but what works against Clemson won't always work against a Duke. Now, so the tactics need to change, but at the same time, the players need to find some consistency on the pitch themselves. Consider Deandre Kerr, this team's leading goal scorer with 9 goals on the season. Just 2 of those came after October 1st. Yes, he led the team in goals, but he couldn't do it throughout the season, and that was a big issue for this team throughout the year, Calvin.
Well, there's some issues to clean up, but the good news is a lot of faces return for the 2022 season, actually returning a bunch of talent. So now, can they switch up those tactics, and how will the Orange be in 2022?
Well, I think they're going to be a lot better next year. I mean, when you're the 10 seed in the ACC, you can pretty much only go up. But this was a young team. Deandre Kerr, Gio Kochevsky, sophomores, Kurt Kalov, Cheech Pagano, Julius Rauch, freshmen. A lot of underclassmen getting a lot of minutes for the Orange. So optimistically next year, I think this could be a team that finishes top 4 in the ACC and gets a bye in the conference tournament, and maybe even gets a bye in the NCAA tournament.
Realistically, I think they'll finish mid-tier in the ACC, probably 5 or 6 range, and they'll play in the first round of the NCAA tournament, but that's a marked improvement when they didn't even make the dance this year, Calvin.
Wow, so some high praise for Danny Tao, some things to look at in the 2022 men's soccer season. Danny Tao, always a top performer, but we're going to give you some more top performers when we come back after the break. Dales will be back with me, and we're going to be getting into our 3 top performers of the week. You're not going to want to miss that one. OTB returns in just a minute.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
What are you, superheroes?
Just 4 brothers who hate bullies and love this city.
Gear up, guys.
Welcome back into On the Bench. He's Calvin Christoforo. I'm John Dales. We're wrapping things up here on this episode of OTB. And it was kind of a rough showing for Syracuse sports thus far into the show, has it not been?
Yeah, it hasn't been great. I'd say I've seen better.
Yeah, well, the good news is that there was still some great individual players and individual performances. Calvin, we've got 3 great performers of the week.
We had a trio, and we're going to start with Marina Markova. She is an all-around stud. She had a great year. The outside hitter in her junior season closes it out in a big way. An SU's 3-0 win over NC State. Markova led the team with 21 kills, led the team in aces with 2, while also grabbing 8 digs. That was 3rd on the team. Markova finishes the season with a team-leading 492. You put a 1 in front of that, that's the year Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
That's a good fact right there. Thank you for that, Calvin. Now, Jesse Edwards is going to be our 2nd performer of the week. We talked about it. He averaged nearly 15 points per game in the battle for Atlantis, and that game against Arizona State seemed like it was the turning point for the season. He finished 9 of 11 from the floor. He played 35 minutes and nearly had a double-double with 21 points and 8 boards. And Calvin, your former calc partner, he followed that up by going 7 for 8 in the next game against Auburn.
We chopped it up in calculus class, I'll tell you that much. Last but certainly not least, Chrislyn Carr, who has really found her stride as a leader on this SU women's basketball team. Over SU's last 4 games, Carr has been on the bench for just 12 minutes. Think about that. You and I have been on the bench for 25 minutes. She's been on 12 for the past 4 games, 20 points in SU's win against Colgate. She's really a star for this team.
She really has been. Syracuse women's basketball, they run into a little bit of trouble early on, but I think as long as you're playing Christiana Carr and Chrislyn Carr, you're going to be okay. Well, that wraps up this episode of On the Bench. Alongside Calvin Christoforo, I'm John Dale saying thanks for tuning in. Here's your images of the week.
Just one more win to become bowl eligible. Schrader in the gun, takes a snap, steps up in the pocket, throws over the middle, and it's caught by Courtney Jackson, and he's into the end zone for a Syracuse touchdown.
Takes the snap, check down left, it's Jordan Addison, he's stampeded down! Kingsley Jonathan, the instigator, Garrett Williams, the finisher.
2nd and 13 as Schrader takes the snap at the pit 15, he throws to Jackson, he has him in the corner of the end zone.